You become the bottleneck. You actually end up, if you're spending the same amount of time, there's a couple of things that probably indicates is that you're spending too much time on things maybe you shouldn't be spending time on. How's it going? Today I'm going to talk about something really interesting, and it's a bit of a contradiction that because there's a lot around at the moment about the hustle culture, and you got to get out there and you got to do this, you got to spend more time, all that sort of stuff. I don't really subscribe to that. I just don't believe it. I think you need to do that when you start a business, but I think there's, personally for me, things change in your business, and actually we need to sort of think about the changes that we need to, our own thinking, our own sort of approach to our business needs to change as well. Otherwise it can be a bit of a stumbling block or hold your business back. What I'm talking about specifically is when you start a business, if you've started a business before, you just work lots. It's just the way it is. You know, you've got things going on and you're all over the place and you don't have any cash, so you've got to try your hand at this and this and this and this, working long days, long hours. You've just got to push. That's just the nature of it. You know, pretty much all the businesses that I've started have always required that to happen. And then what happens is that, you know, the process of that, though, it's not really sustainable to run a business long term with that sort of an approach. And I think what happens, and I know for me it was also the case, I missed when things needed to change a bit. And I really reflected on that, and I've been talking to, you know, mates and different business owners that we work with about that. And what we found was it's more the way we think about it as opposed to the reality. And I think the data doesn't support that view. So what am I talking about? So for example, what happens is that when you start a business and you get in there and you do this and you do that, and you're working the long hours, long days, you're going through the process of just doing everything that's needed, and then you start achieving levels of success, which is fantastic, yeah? So things start ticking in, and there's nothing better than when you get stuff ticking in, because there's so many things that don't work. You know, you try that, it doesn't work, you got to change. You do this and it doesn't work, you got to waste some money there, and there's all sorts of chaos that happens. And then eventually, it might be 1 year or 2 year or 3 year, I don't know, it depends on your business and what you're up to. Things start to groove in a bit. And the way our brain works is we go, okay, the reason that I got to that success and being able to get that done was because of the amount of time and effort I put in. And it wouldn't have been possible to have achieved that without doing that, or it would just take way longer. And that's actually true. So the reason that you've achieved that success is because you put the time in and you did this and you tried that. And so then what happens is we go, well, I don't want to change that because that's gotten my business and got me where I am today. So I've just got to keep on that track. That's almost like, it's like a success factor. You know, I've got to just work hard and put a lot of time in and really grind into it. And, you know, because if I stop doing that, then I'm not going to continue to grow, expand, and my business may not remain successful. It's quite irrational when you think about that idea that you just have to keep doing that. Let me explain why. Because what happens when you start is you're discovering, you're still working things out. There's no straight line. You got to try this and it doesn't work, it's a dead end, come back, give it another go, you tweak, you adjust, and eventually those things, over time, you start working out what works well. Yep. So there's less discovery to do because you've started to groove in for your business model things that work well and things that don't work well. You know, in business, you've made a lot of mistakes. You know, I've done that in all my businesses. That didn't work, wasted money here, lots of stress there, all that sort of stuff happens. But as your business evolves after 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5, 10, 15 years, what you find is that there's less of those unknowns. There's certainly less, because your business model is more stable, it's more predictable, you're getting better success, so there's a lot less stress around it. So logically what that means is there's less time needed by you, not only in the business, but also less hours needed. So that's actually, and if you follow that logic through, it makes sense, doesn't it? So you're not having to spend as much time trying to sort this out and do that, but what's happened is it's feels a bit counterintuitive because, like, well, you know, that I did A plus B, and because A plus B gave me C, which was a level of success, I'm just going to keep going A plus B because that's going to keep delivering C for me, which is not true. It's simply not true. I know for myself personally, I missed that. I had to do this, and then I sort of looked and went, okay, it's not working anymore. And in fact, what happens, and I don't know if you've had this experience as well, it'll be interesting to get your thoughts and comments on this, is you become the bottleneck. You actually end up, if you're spending the same amount of time, there's a couple of things that probably indicates is that you're spending too much time on things maybe you shouldn't be spending time on. Also, you're involved in too many things in your business. And so there's a time when you just have to let go a little bit. Start surrounding yourself with some really good people. You get a stage where your cash flow's improved, you're making some profits. Get the right people around you. And those people, the way I look at it is that, a lot of us as entrepreneurs, we give everything a crack and we do a bit of marketing, do that, a bit of sales, bit of this, bit of that. And that can be great, but it can also be a bit of a hassle, because what it does is it prevents, if you can't do something, you just get someone else to do it. It's pretty simple. When you can do it, you sort of think, well, I'll just do it. So what happens is you become the bottleneck. You get to the edge of your capacity. And I found this in my business, whether it was marketing, whether it was sales, the tech stuff, all different parts of the business, and I've got reasonable skills in those areas, but then I hit the edge. And so I needed to get people on board that could take the business to the next level. And what that meant was they just had to be way better at whatever they're doing than me. And once you start doing that, it's a game changer. It's an absolute game changer in your business. Because what it does is you start working out what you love doing and what you're good at and what you want to keep doing. So you go, well, I'm going to hang on to those things. That's great. And so you start getting rid of these other things, but you're getting rid of them to people that have got better skills than you, better knowledge, love what they're doing, and then it actually is the next step, next way of moving your business to that next level. It's a pretty cool realization. I missed that personally. Didn't realize, because I had the same idea, being bankrupt before. I thought, oh no, that's working, so I'm not going to frig with this. I'm not going to change that. I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing. And in fact, we leveled out. We weren't getting the growth. And then it was that realization that I needed to get out of it. I'm the bottleneck, and I need to be spending less time in the business, which seems counterintuitive. And then you need to make that change. And it's a different stage for different businesses as to when that happens. But the simple question is, if you've been running your business for 5 years and you're still putting in the same number of hours, the same number of days that you've worked before, I'd ask you a question, why is that? Look, if it's your choice, you love it so much, you just want to be in there, that's cool. There's no drama around that. But if you're like, I don't really want to be doing the same hours, I don't know why, then really ask yourself, why is that? Why is it that you put in the same number of hours and same days 5 years, 10 years later? What's the reason for that? Just having that awareness, you can choose how you respond to it or what you do with it, but just having that awareness is a bit of a game changer. And so picking your business obviously evolves. It goes from this stage, early startup stage, a little bit more normal. And then as you move, like my inspection business, Resi, so it's been around for almost 14 years now, so it's quite an established business. Look, there's still things we need to grapple and change with, but it's quite a different business. So I don't work that much in that business now. For me, it's 1 or 2 hours a week. I'm inconsequential really in that business. And so I've really removed myself from pretty much all the activity, and that's enabled the business to not only continue to operate, but expand and grow. Had pretty amazing growth in the last few years. And so that's a bit of an insight that I sort of realized. It's been a real game changer, and probably one of the biggest changes I made in the business was bringing in someone to manage the business. I don't love managing people. I just hate it. I don't really have a high level of empathy, so I just found that me dealing with a lot of people, and I didn't love it. And so when I brought a general manager into the business, it was a bit of a game changer, and it enabled me to basically, step back, open up the gate, and let the business do what it needed to do. So it's pretty cool. The main thing to consider is that if you're still doing the same amount of time, putting a lot of effort, why is that after a number of years in your business? Got to ask that question. The answer is up to you, whether it's a good or a bad thing, up to you. And then the other thing to consider is that your business will go through these phases. So as it goes through these phases, just look out for them, look out, have an awareness that you just can't keep doing the same thing. And if you're stuck and plateauing and flattening out, there's probably something that's not quite right in the structure. Yeah. particularly if it's getting really, really hard. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. I sort of had conversations with people around that, and I think it's, I wish I'd picked it up earlier because it actually dragged the business, kept the business contained for longer than it needed to be. It's certainly how I look at things. My expectation is that a lot of work up front, but I do expect that the amount of time and effort I have to put into a business definitely declines as things move on. No question at all. That's just how it's going to work. Okay, thanks for joining me, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Ciao for now. Thanks for listening. As you know, we grow organically. It's really people like yourself that enable us to get the word out. If you like what you hear, please give us a rating, leave a good comment, and share this with your friends. Thank you.